This is a Moflakes template. I'm going to show you all how to fold it and how to cut it. This particular template is for the spider snowflake. It's a 6-sided spider snowflake based on the snowflake made by Jack Skellington in the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas. Here we have the pattern. We have some lines that show where you're going to be doing some folding, dotted line where you're going to cut. The pattern itself has some axis lines to get to areas so you can cut without having to use a sharp knife. I have it as intermediate on my website. Let me just show you the 2 pairs of scissors I'm going to use. This long pair, it's a nice sharp pair. I could do the whole snowflake with that, but I also have precision scissors. It's got this sharper point and it's a shorter blade, so I can cut and move without hitting my hand all the time. When printing the snowflake template, depending on how your printer is, it may not print all the way to the edge, and that's fine. Now, what is important is that your folds are as close to being right on the lines as possible. When using a template, you're not folding to try to match up the edges, folding to try to make it right on the line, and that way your pattern is lined up. So the first line here, number 1, is where we're going to fold first. And we're going to fold it outward so that you can still see the pattern and all the other lines. I'm getting it close to the edges, but I'm really looking down here to make sure I'm lined up right on the line. You want to make sure it's pressed down. If your fingers aren't as strong as mine, then you can use, some people use the back of the scissors to get a nice pressed look. So the next line is this number 2 here. Just folding it in half again. The next fold here, between 3 and 4, you can do either one in whatever order you want. So I can fold it this way and then that way, or I can fold this side in first. It doesn't matter the order there so much. When you fold it in, you want to actually be able to see the line here that's still printed. Basically giving it a little room. When you overlap, this will actually match up with that edge. So let me just show you, see how well I did. If I didn't do well, I can go back and do it again. I have these darker solid lines here that mark the edge of the pattern. And so you want to make sure those are as close to the edge as possible. That's it, that's the folded part. Cut off this extra part. I can use the big scissors for that. These lines here, they're going to be cut from the edge, but I'm not actually cutting anything out. It's just an axis line to get to these shaded areas. But I'm going to start by getting off the bottom and kind of the outer edges first. Something you'll notice here, I'm not cutting all the way down to the tip of the scissors, doing little tiny cuts like this, because then I have more leverage to get through those 12 layers of paper. So watch again as I cut here. They're just very short cuts, and then I'll pivot and turn and keep my cuts short. With my left hand, I'm squeezing the layers together so they don't separate as the scissors push down on them. I'm going to start with this axis line here to get to this gray area to cut it out. Do a lot of snowflake cutting, you'll start building up calluses on your thumbs just from squeezing the papers together. Now you don't have to cut the whole gray piece just like that. You can cut off portions of it to get them out of the way. And sometimes that's needed so you can get in here, get really close to these lines. So when I come up to this edge, I'm just getting real close, and then I can just pull these pieces off. Sometimes just give them a little twist like that, and it comes right off. Now with these micro tip scissors, I can use those to get up close like this. That's why I like these. Where this is right between these two edges, So make sure not to cut this edge here. You want to go right down the middle. And now these two pieces are still connected at the fold. And that'll be important when you open it up. I'm going to follow along this axis line here to get to this section up here and cut it out. Here's another one where these layers are really going to want to move on me. So I got to squeeze them real tight with my left hand. Yeah, it's easier to follow a template because you have the lines. You don't have to make as many cuts. All the lines are printed on one side of the paper. So if I don't get all the gray parts out, you won't necessarily see that when it's opened up because you can just look at the backside. Now I've got all these layers that are flapping around and they can easily get in the way, so you got to be careful not to snip those off while you're cutting. So this part's hard because I have to squeeze, and there's a very skinny edge that I'm holding on to. I'll come in from this side so I can have a little more or something to hold on to. This part right here is tricky without micro tip scissors, but you could also use nail clippers. I think I've got it all done, all the gray stuff. I'm gonna get all the papers out of the way. So let's see how it looks. Just getting one section at a time. Just unfolding it. And I squeeze the folds as I open it to try to keep it as flat as I can. Each time I unfold it, there's a little more to flatten out. And then I have my last unfolding. Flatten it out. And there you go.